Hey guys, Caroline here. You'll see in front of me I have an email here from Betfair saying that my sportsbook account has now been gubbed. So I'm expecting Paddy Power to follow anytime now. But in this video I want to talk about kind of my strategies for life after gubbing. You know, this is I think 7th or 8th account now that I've got gubbed, and I'm sure, as I said, I'm sure Paddy Power is going to come next. But I still want to try to make money going forward. You know, I've talked before in previous videos about the limitations of match betting, and one of them is this, that it's limited in its lifespan. You know, it's not going to make a big income forever doing the regular offers, certainly not in the normal way, because once you get restricted you can't do all of those same offers. So there's three things I'm going to cover today. One of them is something called each way arbing. Another one is trading, and lastly, casino. Don't know why that disappeared, but never mind. Okay, so let's talk about each way arbing then. So I have in front of me here the odds monkey each way matcher tool. Now I have done a video on this a really long time ago, but I never really followed it up. So I'm not going to talk about the whole strategy here because I think it would take quite a few videos to do. But let me just give you a really brief overview. On the forum, I found this on the forum, okay? This each way no lay method. And basically, without going into all the details, what we're doing is we're placing bets on horses which are priced higher than they should be. It's an ARB. Now, an ARB, if you don't know what that means, it's where the price at the bookmaker is higher than the current price at the exchange. Now, you often see this with a price boost, where a bookmaker has deliberately boosted a price to odds which are higher than usual, and then you get on those. It's usually a max stake, like 10 or 20 quid or something. But an ARB is where the bookmaker, they basically haven't been quick enough. You've got an army of traders at the bookmakers that are following the exchanges, and they're moving the prices around constantly. And sometimes if they're not quite quick enough, there'll be a few moments, and it really is usually just moments, where the price on the bookmaker is higher than on the exchange. And if you can get that bet on in that few moments, you've got what's called a value bet. Now, the way bookmakers work in general is they use something called the overround, and what that means is that they will always price below the true odds. They take value from you. If you were to place 1,000 bets at a bookmaker randomly over the course of the time, what would happen is the chances are you'd get most of your money back, because if they're a random bet, some of them are going to win. But what would happen is, over time, the money that returned to you would go down and down and down and down and down, because the bookmaker always prices their odds too low. This method exploits the times when they price too high. So I'll explain more of that in ongoing videos, but that's kind of an overview. Now, this particular method is good to do on gubbed accounts because, generally speaking, if you've read anything in the match betting community, you'll hear that ARBs are bad. You know, bookmakers, they don't like it when we take value, and if you are consistently betting on something which is an ARB, they will gub your account really quickly. But in this case, I'm already gubbed, so I don't care. In that case, I want to take value from that bookmaker. Now, to give you an idea of what this is, you see, I went through this thread here and I found a whole, I think I've just, oh no, I haven't closed it down. I went through, you can see this particular post explains it really, really well, probably better than I can. And then he's got this chart here. I'll see if I can zoom into that. Yeah, so this chart, he has placed, there is, I think there's 1,500 bets at this point. And if you see this jagged blue line, that is basically his profits gradually going up. And if you follow this along, you'll find that over a long period of time, you can't do this with 100 bets and expect to make money. You will need thousands, because the variance is an absolute killer. You will lose money as well. So I am doing this with very low stakes. Now I'll show you my spreadsheet. I've been doing this for like 3 days, so my data here is not of any use at the moment. But this is an example of what I've done today. So we're the 18th of December. It's currently 11 o'clock in the morning. What I have found, I actually tried doing this method about a month or so ago, actually. I didn't have much luck, so I couldn't find many matches, and I realized it's because I was trying to do this just in the afternoons. And then I read somewhere that most of the good prices are starting around 8 in the morning. And sure enough, when I started doing this, between about 8 and 10, this is when most of these pop up. So this is the odds I'm taking. They're all high odds. There's no value in very low odds. You know, backing like a favourite at odds of 2, there's no value there. The value is in the higher odds, but that is why the variance is a killer. I mean, this one here, odds of 41. What is the chances of a horse coming in at odds of 41? You know, it's very, very, very low. But over time, but it can happen. Of course it can happen. Anything can happen in horse racing. So that's why the variance is a killer. Now, I'm using stakes of literally £1. That's all I'm doing. And if you read through that thread, you'll find that some people do varying different types of stakes. Like for these high ones at 41, they might just put 50p. For the lower ones of say below 10, they might do £2, for example. But like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail in this video because I want to do more follow-up videos if people find it interesting. But I'm up a fiver in a few days, but of course I could drop down to like minus 20, 30, 50 quid over the next few weeks. But I'm thinking of this as kind of a long-term strategy. It's something that I'll do for a couple of hours in the morning while I'm doing all my other stuff. You know, if I come back to, where has it gone? This particular tool, I've got this open here. You've got a refresh and you can auto refresh it and it will just literally ping at you, and you can set up filters for exactly what you want and it just literally pings. You just get a little tick when it's ready and then you go and put your bet on. And that's what I do. I have it on a second screen and it just pings at me while I'm doing my other work. So it's not like I'm just sitting there watching this screen for 2 or 3 hours. No, I'm doing my other work and then it's on the other screen pinging at me. So this is something that I'm doing as a long-term strategy. I'm going to do it for several months. Well, I want to do it indefinitely, and as I get more accounts which are gubbed, that gives me more bookies that I can choose from, but I will report back on this. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is trading, Betfair trading. Okay, now trading, if we come back to a price boost, if we come back, let me just find a market on Smarkets 1 second. Right, I've got the horse racing up here, and this is a good example. I mentioned earlier that the best prices come in the morning. So let's say we've got any old horse race, it doesn't matter what it is. Actually, let me just try and find one where prices come in. Okay, free agent. Oh, I've got no graph on this one. I probably should do this on Betfair. But anyway, if you go to pretty much any horse race, you'll find that, say there's a favourite. Actually, there's not a favourite on here. You've got 2 very close favourites. But anyway, when a price moves down, if you place a back bet at say 2.64 and then sometime later you place your lay bet at 2.6 or even 2.5, you make a difference on the profit. Now we're used to this as match bettors with price boosts. You know, a bookie offers a price, like I talked about earlier, that's higher than the exchange lay price, and you make a profit. Now what trading is, with match betting, we like to do things risk-free. We place our back bet and our lay bet at the same time. Well, not exactly the same time, obviously within seconds of each other, so that both bets are matched immediately, and then the profit is guaranteed. We know exactly what's going to make. With trading, there's a time delay. Now, so far, I've been trading mainly football. I have had a go at horses. Now, so far, I completely suck at trading in every possible way. Now, I have actually been doing this for over 2 months. It's the first time I've mentioned it on this channel because this is a channel about match betting, not trading. Trading is something different, but it came about because of match betting. I couldn't have done trading without having a background in match betting. Now, I'll give you an example, and you can see here, this is my profit and loss over the past month, and I've lost 37 quid. Now I'm using very small stakes. I'm using like stakes of £2, £3, just while I test it out. My profits are like 50p, a quid here and there, and my losses are the same. Now some of them are a little bit higher because I have started to do slightly higher amounts in like the last week or so, but generally speaking, it's going to be like 66p, £1.66, 55p. There's one there of 6 quid. That was a profit actually, £6. And we can see here that I'm betting on various different things. First half goals, the match odds. There's lots of match odds under 1.5, over 1.5 goals, and so forth. So trading is a whole different world. Now, the reason I like trading is because it is done purely on the exchange. It does not involve bookmakers at all. So you can just, stick your finger up at the bookmakers. It doesn't involve them. It will never go away. You cannot be gubbed from an exchange. I am now gubbed from the Betfair Sportsbook, but I have heard of a couple of people being restricted on the exchange, but that's only where they haven't uploaded their verification documents. You don't get gubbed on the exchange. You can go and put thousands and thousands and thousands of bets. That is what the exchange wants, because they make profit on every single bet you place. And also with the exchange is that you are betting against other people. If there is liquidity in the markets, there is profit to be made, and which means you can scale it up. So I'm starting off by betting £2, £3, but on like those big matches, if you've got like big Premier League matches, you can be betting 100 quid, 200 quid, 500, 1,000. You can scale it up, and that is something you cannot do with match betting. Like I said in that video about limitations, you cannot turn a £5 free bet into a £500. But if I was to get good at this trading, then instead of putting on a £5 stake, I'm going to put on a £50 stake, and so on. So this is something that I am learning, and I've been learning about it, like I said, for a couple of months. I still suck. The fact that I've come into this not knowing anything about football and racing certainly has been a challenge. So I'm learning, and this is what I want to do going forward. I'm going to milk the match betting for as long as I can, but in terms of the future, I really want to be putting my efforts into trading in both football and horse racing. So again, I can cover this in other videos later, but to be honest, there's no point in me doing any videos on trading at the moment, simply because I suck and I'm losing. If I get to a point where I'm making consistent profits, then perhaps I could either start a separate playlist on the channel or even start a different channel about trading, but there's no point really going into it at the moment. And so the last thing I wanted to just talk about was casino. Let me find a Facebook thread. I should have prepared this bit. I'm going to find a Facebook thread that I was looking at yesterday. This was actually a thread which I started on Facebook, and I posted a picture of a particularly bad casino offer. And someone had responded here saying, if you had 100k bank, you'd be smashing these. And anyway, if we have a look down through the comments, there's people talking about, here we go, this is it. There's people on the PA, that's Profit Accumulator forums, who make a lot more than that. Some of them are making 12k to 30k a month. Now, this is Facebook, right? Oh, there's someone on the forum that's making this much money. I always take this kind of stuff with a grain of salt. However, I have read this kind of thing many, many, many times over the last few months, and I was reading a forum thread on Odds Monkey the other day about high risk casino, and someone was saying, I can't believe it, I've actually managed to make 10 grand this month from casino. And I was like, bloody hell, really? 10,000? Now, you need a big bank for casino. Personally, I don't really like casino very much. I don't like doing the ones which high risk. I don't like losing my money. And if I'm going to risk my money, I'd rather do it doing the sports trading that I just talked about, or the arbing that I talked about. I'd rather do that and at least put my risk into something that has an expected value that's better than what the casino offers are. articulating that very well. But anyway, it's another avenue. If you manage to build up a good bank, you know, you build up a good bank with match betting. If you can make, say, 10 grand with match betting, then you've got some money to work with. And once all those offers have dried off, maybe you can then start with casino. And I think this is a way that a lot of people have gone. So personally, for me, casino is kind of bottom of the list. But if I had a ton of money, then I'd start doing a little bit more, perhaps. But yeah, so this is 3 things that I'm looking at going forward as the gubbins get worse and worse. Now, I talked briefly yesterday about potentially creating some new accounts. This is going to be in a family member's name, but I'll talk about that in another video if I manage to do it, if I manage to get the offers on. So that's it for this one. I'll be interested to hear, you know, what you think. If you've had a lot of gubbins, what are you doing? You know, I see people on Facebook here in this group saying, oh, that's it, you know, I've been gubbed for all these places, oh, I'm feeling disheartened now, you know, the end is nigh, you know, the world is falling, sky is falling, whatever it's called. You know, they just think it's the end. But it's not the end. There's other things to do. So these are my strategies. This is what I intend to do. So I hope you found this video interesting, and thanks for watching.